It's finally time to get to some things that I haven't spoken about yet with regards to news roundups. Can you believe it's been almost 2 weeks since I posted my last news roundup video, which is really weird for me because, as you guys know, I kind of like to stay on top of it. There's some promos for the Flash movie advertising the new trailer that is coming our way April 25th. We're getting like a proper official trailer 2 type thing, but some of these trailers are not only interesting, but a lot of people have quite a few things to say about the whole CGI aspects of it, so I want to go over that. Creature Commandos has finally got its cast. We've got James Mangold talking about Swamp Thing a little bit, and I want to kind of address the possible release date for that, given that he's also directing his somewhat Dawn of the Jedi movie. So first of all, what I want to do is briefly bring up each TV spot, watch it, and then just give my overall thoughts, and again, feel free to add yours down in the comments below.
We're not going to be able to fix this. No! Nobody dies!
The Flash.
So, as you can tell, very, 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 very quick TV spots, okay? And the first thing I have to say, let's quickly go through this first one. I've got a lot to say about the Flash suit. I have mixed feelings on it, and I don't think any of us have really realized that there's an actual lightning bolt on the bottom that glows yellow as well. So that's really, really nice to see. But one of the most intriguing aspects we get of this, outside this new look at Supergirl, I think Sasha Calle looks freaking awesome as Supergirl, is when we see both Barrys, of which I believe they're in the Speed Force. We hear the other Barry, so the Barry with the longer hair, the Barry of whom our DCEU Barry meets in the new timeline in where his mother is still alive. He says, we're not going to be able to fix this, and then we hear a no, and then we cut to that scene. He says, nobody's gonna die, and he's like exclaiming that to our Barry. Like, both Barrys have their cowls off at this point. The other Barry has the Michael Keaton Flash suit on, the makeshift suit. Our Barry's wearing his proper Flash suit. You can even see it lit up a little bit there. This is just pure speculation, but we know we're getting Dark Flash in this movie, and as far as we're aware, we've got our Barry, the DCEU Barry, before obviously the reset happens into the DCU. He meets the other Barry, who gets given this Michael Keaton Batman armor, but a makeshift Flash suit, and then there's Dark Flash. But one thing people have been wondering about is, who is Dark Flash? Is it like a different alternate world version, because this movie is kind of about traversing the multiverse in some way or another? Could it be a version of Barry who becomes very bitter? But given that we're seeing this scene of them both now, and I want to put this theory out there, and it's not a new one, is I do wonder if the other Barry that our DCU Barry meets, could he himself become Dark Flash? Now, obviously, this isn't evidence. He could actually just be exclaiming to our Barry saying, nobody dies, you know, like, because Barry's maybe suggesting something where we're going to kind of maybe have to let this happen. I kind of need to run back in time and basically let my mum die if I'm ever going to kind of fix this Flashpoint mess I've made. And I don't think that's in the spirit of our Barry, though, just kind of leaving this world to ruin with, you know, the freaking Black Zero event happening, Keaton's Batman just collapsing to his knees at the end of this TV spot. Everything's going bad, and then this other Barry's like, nobody dies. Nobody is going to die. We've got to fix this. But it is easy to get carried away with seeing how there's this other Barry exclaiming, nobody dies, and he will do anything and everything to stop whomever from dying in his world that our Barry traveled to. And I wonder if that means, since he's a bit of a noob with the Speed Force compared to our DCEU Barry, from what we understand, if he goes down some kind of corrupt Dark Flash road. Now, this obviously would be after all the scenes we've seen in the main trailer where they're working together, they kick off each other's feet and fight all of the Kryptonians and Zod and Supergirls in the air, and all of that fun stuff is happening. I've said ever since that trailer came out, I think a lot of people are expecting that to be like the final act of the movie. But I think that could be happening around the midpoint, and really Dark Flash is the ultimate villain in the somewhat final act, and they may get past the whole Black Zero event stuff. Maybe Zod puts whoever he cares about in danger, whether that's Supergirl or whatever, and he could transform into Dark Flash, because whether Barry has to go back to his own timeline, our Barry that is, and this does something against the other Barry's best interest because it could mean bad things for his world, or God knows what. Like, this is what I mean. It's such a disjointed theory, but you have to think about who Dark Flash is. It's obviously going to be a version of Barry, but I'm wondering if, despite seeing the Barry that our Barry meets this whole movie, or most of the movie, helping out Michael Keaton's Batman, helping out our Barry, could he have a somewhat dark turn in where he doesn't want to let anyone die, and he goes to the lengths of going into dark Flash mode to prevent whatever it is that he's afraid of happening. The next scene we get is of our Barry kind of like hooked up in his Flash suit, cowl off, and he's getting like completely zapped. Now, I do think this could have something to do with him reconnecting back to the Speed Force. That is a part of the original Flashpoint storyline anyway. When Barry goes back and creates Flashpoint, you kind of have, there's different iterations on it. The CW have done it as well. You can kind of lose your memories of the timeline you came from. You lose your powers. And we've seen this somewhat highlighted in the main trailer, the first main trailer, in where like there's a lightning bolt going through our DCEU Barry into the new Barry, the other Barry as we describe him as. And I don't know if this scene is mega related because in this version he's in his Flash suit, so it is very intriguing, and I wonder what is going on here. It could still be related, but he just popped in his Flash suit and now he's getting a bunch more lightning bolted into him. And the final shot of this first TV spot is of Keaton just almost giving up, just dropping to his knees. You see the battle against the Kryptonians and Zod's forces with the US military there as well. We have Supergirl in the air. We have both Flashes doing their thing. I think this could be him thinking it's kind of almost over. Now, one thing, and one of the main things I wanted to address, and obviously we've got a couple more TV spots to go, is people are taking the piss a little bit out of the CGI. Now, my first thing I want to say here with regards to that is that these are TV spots that have been ripped and are usually having been put on Twitter, and the quality isn't that high. So although I will say we have like that scene of Barry being zapped by lightning, and there's a lot of kind of particly kind of misty effects around him, that's never gonna look good when it's posted to social media with compression and stuff. And I know this will sound to some people that I'm making excuses, but I do think it's kind of odd to go full judgment before even seeing like a super high quality version of these trailers. And what I mean is going ham, because there's a lot of people on Twitter and other social media being like, look at this, but not really many people were saying that when it came to when the official trailer dropped on YouTube for trailer 1. Okay, so let's look at the second TV spot.
The Flash.
You're strapped to your parachutes.
Where's yours?
So what I like about this one in particular is it features Michael Keaton being a badass. You know, a lot of people look up to Michael Keaton's Batman. Obviously, a lot of people who grew up with that Batman. I've seen a mix of opinions, people being like, oh, Keaton looks lame, and then some people like, oh, he looks badass. I think that's always going to be the case when you literally have a suit from the 80s being slightly modernized. I personally like it. I know it's Batman Returns somewhat upgrade, but I feel like they've still kept it kind of true to his look while also giving it a couple more little features. I do agree, though, I wish the belt was yellow or something like that rather than it all being black there. But the cool thing about this is, you know, he's literally jumping out of the Batwing, freaking skydiving mode. We see the Batwing basically over the moon there. And it's just a badass shot. Now, I think with regards to the story here, I think they're about to go and save Supergirl. They've flown over to where she's being held. We have the other Barry in his kind of winter-esque clothing. Now, I think that matches the end of the first trailer when we have him saying, yeah, hey, Batman, what are we going to do? And then Supergirl comes in. But one thing I did notice that's intriguing is I called him the other Barry in, like, the thermal clothing. He's got short hair there, which indicates it's the DCEU Barry, and the one who's freaking out about Batman skydiving down, you know, you would have thought is our DCEU Barry because he's wearing the DCEU suit. But now I'm thinking, wild theory here, it's not too wild, but I wonder if they've put the long-haired Barry, of whom we know is the other Barry, into the Flash suit as a decoy, and the actual Flash, our DCEU Barry, is in the winter clothing. Maybe that is the case, and it's just at the point of where our DCEU Barry has lost his speedster powers going over to this timeline, and maybe this is before he gets back the Speed Force. Of course, you could say that the other Barry just got his longer haircut, but I don't think they do that, because we've seen plenty of shots with the other Barry in his Michael Keaton Batman armor Flash suit, where his hair is still long. Okay, so this third TV spot advertising the new trailer, it's literally starting off saying new trailer, is the one that I think people are clowning on most. So let's look at this.
The Flash.
So obviously it's a close-up feature of some of the characters in the trailer, and it starts off with Barry, our Barry in Central City. I believe this is a part of the Justice League-esque team-up scene that we're getting towards the beginning of the movie, you know, with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, the one that Ben Affleck was talking about, and how he gets saved by Wonder Woman or whatever. The one of Batfleck, people are just like, what is that? Now, I will say that it does have like this almost unflattering look. I still stand by what I said before about waiting till we actually see this in the movie or even in a better non-compressed trailer, but I'm not against any criticism. So, you know, my biggest thing I noticed here is that the cowl to like the cape going on the shoulders there, you know, like cake icing, it's like if you had like black food coloring and you put that on the cake icing and it all had this like one seamless effect down to the shoulders. That's the kind of vibe it gives to me. But like this looks super zoomed in compared to what maybe we might see in the movie. I mean, obviously it could be a close-up shot anyway. But the reason why I'm not really going crazy at this like some other people, you know, because it's that typical social media post where people screenshot and they're like, blah, 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 what is this, you know? We've seen Ben Affleck in plenty of other shots on the Batcycle, the really hench-looking Batcycle. It looks really sick. And these some action sequences of him going throughout the streets of Central City as they're going after the bad guys, and it looks great. So I'm not gonna like look at this and just clown on it. I do get if you look at it and you're like, it almost looks a bit too smooth everywhere. Again with the cake icing thing, but my issue, as I said, is to kind of put your decree out and just be like, yes, movie bad. Batfleck looks like a joke. If this was done in like a previous version rather than this Flash movie, he would have been great, but this looks awful. Like, you can't really possibly know that, especially off of 1 or 2 frames in like a 8-second TV spot. Fair enough if you don't like the armor in general. I've seen people critique the kind of bat armor he has in this. But if anything, I can imagine this actually being quite a cool moment in the movie because you see like all this rubble going down behind him very briefly. And again, it does look like the shot is meant to be a bit wider and that this has been adjusted for a TV spot where they've deliberately gone ham on the close-ups for a few of the characters. But it looks like he's getting ready to like lean in on his bat bike, getting ready to rev and just launch forward. So I think this will not blow people's minds, but turn into like a really cool moment compared to what a lot of people are clowning on right now. So let me know what you think of all of these TV spots. And in some other news, now this is a rumor, I do want to make this clear, but this has been something people have been suspecting for quite a while. And the rumor is that Andy Muschietti is set to direct the Batman film, The Brave and the Bold. Now, we know that they want to keep Andy Muschietti around, given the wow factor we've heard with how much confidence Warner Brothers has with the Flash movie. They all clearly want him to direct a movie in the DCU, and we've been wondering what that is. And this is just a rumor. It's on Reddit. It's a part of the verified section, I believe, but still, I take it as a total rumor. But the thing is, if the Flash movie does get an amazing response, especially with so many people about to see it at CinemaCon, so that's going to give even earlier kind of, you know, confidence to the movie, it wouldn't be remotely surprising if they tapped Andy Muschietti to direct Batman, The Brave and the Bold, with, you know, Damian Wayne coming in if he's made such a successful movie with The Flash. Now, obviously, we still need to wait for the box office, despite how much buzz it could get at CinemaCon. But yeah, if Andy makes a good movie and I enjoy the Flash movie, I'll be very happy that he would be set to direct The Brave and the Bold. So how do you feel about this? Would you be game for that? Now, the next piece of news that I missed recently was that we got the full cast for Creature Commandos announced. Now, don't forget that Creature Commandos is one of the somewhat prelude moments leading up to the first proper DCU project, Superman Legacy. But yes, technically Blue Beetle, after the Flash reset, is in the DCU. Same with Aquaman, Creature Commandos, Wooler, then leading into Superman Legacy. And as per what James Gunn said, with all of these animations, they will kind of bleed over into live action. Whoever's playing an animated role, even if you see Superman playing an animated character in the future of the DCU, it will be the same actor as who's playing Superman in the Superman movie coming 2025. So the full list for Creature Commandos is Frank Grillo is Rick Flag Sr. So I remember a lot of people were wondering who he was going to be in the DCU ever since he basically gave away that he was moving over from Marvel to DC. We have Maria Bakalova, I believe that's how you say the name, as Alana Rostovic, or is it Rostovich? Indira Varma as the bride. Now, if you watch Game of Thrones, you may recognize her as the mother of the Sand Snakes, and she was playing opposite Pedro Pascal's Oberyn Martell. She was fantastic, and I think she's going to kill it in this role. We have Zoe Chow as Nina Mazursky. We have Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus. Now, Alan Tudyk is incredible. He has such a range to him. He was Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol. He plays the Joker in the Harley Quinn TV series, as well as Clayface, and I'm pretty sure other roles as well. He does a lot. So the fact that these characters, are going to also bleed into live action as well, because something I forgot to mention is that James Gunn has already said at least one of the characters from Creature Commandos that you're going to see in this animated version will appear in the Waller series. Then we have David Harbour as Eric Frankenstein and Sean Gunn as G.I. Robot. Sean Gunn's also playing Weasel. So this is pretty awesome. Now, I know, I suspect that a lot of people could be like, yeah, Creature Commandos, until we kind of see it. For a lot of people, it's going to kind of be in the back of their minds. But for me, I'm really excited about this. The Creature Commandos, just like how I love characters like Doom Patrol or Suicide Squad characters, they're essentially the result of this kind of biochemical-esque experiment mixed with a bit of necromancy, I suppose you could say, with the Bride or Frankenstein. And in a way, they're not exactly like the Suicide Squad, but it is kind of this program, this project that brought about these characters who are, I guess you could say, these misfits like the Doom Patrol, and they go out there and do missions as well. Now, the Suicide Squad, kind of a different premise, a bunch of characters who are forced to do missions, and, well, they're given the option, I suppose, but they have a bomb in their head, and they do certain things that help out. Except, with Creature Commandos, it's like this roster of people who have been experimented upon. They kind of have to make do with their unique abilities. And it makes you think if Waller's going to have anything to do with this, especially when we have heard that one of the characters will be appearing in Waller. So Waller, being Amanda Waller, probably has her fingers dipped in all kinds of projects, like the Suicide Squad, clearly. We have her in the Waller series with some of the Peacemaker characters, because we've heard this is more of a Peacemaker 1.5 until we get Peacemaker Season 2. So I wouldn't be surprised if she also has her hands dipped in another project, maybe Project M, with regards to the Creature Commandos. So not Suicide Squad people who are serving a sentence, but hey, we've kind of created you and you're the result of this program. I'm going to send you out to do this job. But as we've also discussed on my live streams recently, what if she has something to do with the Authority as well? Because they could be these new age heroes, and she could be bringing those kind of misfit, anti-hero-esque people, kind of like the boys of DC, as a lot of people are describing them, into their own formation, and it could eventually butt heads with Superman from Superman Legacy. So overall, I think this is a great list. What do you think of it? Do you have much hype surrounding Creature Commandos before this, or maybe now after this, you kind of like, oh, I kind of like that cast list, and I know they're going to appear in live action eventually as well. So let me know any and all thoughts down in the comments below. So up next with Swamp Thing, we've known for a while that James Mangold was teasing basically writing and directing Swamp Thing. He posted that picture to Twitter a while back where it was just like, okay, this is kind of obvious. Maybe he's in talks, but nothing's sealed yet, but he just wanted to put something out there. Then around the time of Star Wars Celebration, he had an interview from Collider with them asking about Swamp Thing and Dawn of the Jedi, because he's doing a Star Wars movie set like 25,000 years in the past, even before the Old Republic, about the first ever Jedi, and it's kind of like a biblical story, the equivalent of like the Ten Commandments of first discovering the birth of the Force, in that of the Jedi first using it, right? But the thing is, he's also working on Swamp Thing, and he basically confirms that he is, writing, and both projects are in the works for Star Wars and the DCU Swamp Thing movie. But we're gonna have to wait and see what comes to fruition first. Now, James Gunn said, of course, when we started charting the course for the DCU, one of the first people I talked to was the super talented Mangold about writing and directing his passion project, Swamp Thing. So James Mangold has a huge passion for this character anyway, and it seems likely that he's been wanting to do something with this character for the longest time. It's just the question is that I'm hearing a lot from people, when will this be happening? Especially if he's doing a Star Wars movie as well. Now, I don't think they're going to necessarily interfere with each other, but that's because I don't think Swamp Thing's coming out for like quite a while, so he'll be able to tackle Dawn of the Jedi first. Sure, he's probably going to be like writing for Swamp Thing as well, because he did say he's kind of working on both right now. But Swamp Thing, don't forget that in the DCU Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters announcement video, he basically announced things in order. Now, that's not me saying that they're not subject to change, maybe shift, I don't know, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow earlier than Booster Gold. But he did say this leads into this. Waller leads into Superman Legacy. Then we have the Lantern Show. So you're seeing this Heroes Reforged artwork here. I use it all the time because it's great. This follows the announcement order from what we had in that DCU Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters video with, the Flash universe reset after the Flash movie, going into Blue Beetle, then Aquaman, then we have Creature Commandos, and again, the language he used, this leads into this leads into that. So for now, I'm taking it as this is the order of release. So Creature Commandos and Waller, I think they're blatantly coming 2024. It's possible Waller could air very early 2025 and go into Superman Legacy, which is releasing summer of 2025, but still wouldn't be surprised if both Creature Commandos and Waller happen sometime next year, like the Penguin series is releasing in 2024 as well. We know that Superman Legacy has been slotted for a 2025 July release date. Then we have a live-action Lantern series. And then we have a film about the Authority. And then we have a live-action series about Paradise Lost. And then we have a film about Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Then Booster Gold, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, another movie there. And then Swamp Thing, another movie. So the reason why I think James Mangold is going to do Dawn of the Jedi first, and to me, this just feels obvious. I mean, I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong, is because it makes sense. He can tackle that first and foremost over the next year or two. Our first proper movie is Superman Legacy in 2025. We're in 2023 right now. We've still got 2024, Creature Commandos, Waller. Then 2025, Superman Legacy. And then the next movie is The Authority. You can bet your ass that's going to be 2026. Ignoring some of the live-action TV series. And then you've got Batman, Brave and the Bold. You could argue that they're going to aim, I think they did say they're going to do like 2 movies a year and maybe a couple of shows. So maybe Brave and the Bold could still be 2026. But you see where I'm going with this. This is still like years away. And then after that, the next movie is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. You could argue if you want, sure, that could be like the second movie of 2026 alongside Booster Gold and maybe Paradise Lost airing as shows that year on Max. But then Swamp Thing seems like it would be the first movie of 2027. I know some people would be like, oh, as if it's going to be like that many years away. But like, really think about it for a minute. Think about the releases we've got. Even if they do 2 movies a year after Superman Legacy, and then like subsequently shows maybe a couple times a year, Swamp Thing isn't going to be 2024, 2025, really highly likely not 2026. It makes sense that it could be really, really early 2027. So as a result, James Mangold looks like he can tackle Dawn of the Jedi, then swiftly move into pre-production / production on Swamp Thing sometime after Dawn of the Jedi comes out, probably maybe even 2025, 2026. Like, who knows when that movie will release, but it will easily give him enough time if he's working on that first and foremost to then go on to Swamp Thing and then start shooting that for like a 2027 release. So let me know what you think of that. I just wanted to discuss the release dates roughly of some of the DCU movies with all of this Swamp Thing news, because I don't think people really have it in their minds right now about, oh, when are these things actually going to come out? And Swamp Thing being the last announced project of Chapter 1 that we have so far. Yes, there are more projects to come in Chapter 1, but given the kind of slots that we have, Superman Legacy being a firm one to work with, the first movie in 2025, and you've still got The Authority, Brave and the Bold, another movie then with Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and then another movie. It makes sense that it's 2027. Just let me know any and all thoughts with regards to that. Of course, your thoughts on all the previous stories we covered, Swamp Thing, freaking the Flash promo stuff, and whatever else I'm forgetting to mention. If you liked this video, ladies and gentlemen, please leave a like on the video. It really, 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 really helps me out. I really appreciate that. Do subscribe if you want to stay up to date with more news, reviews, and breakdowns just like this. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you people of all the universes out there in the next video. Goodbye.